What happens when the line between human and machine doesn't just blur, it vanishes entirely, not once, but twice? Imagine Aiko, not born with a silver spoon, but with a failing heart. Not the romantic, poetic kind, but the kind that simply stops working before you're old enough to vote. So they gave her a new one. Not a donated organ, but a masterpiece of microengineering, a pulsating core of gleaming alloys and self-repairing polymers. Aiko, the girl with the beryllium heart. It hummed a silent song within her chest, a steady, relentless rhythm that was undeniably her, yet undeniably other. She learned to live with it, even to forget it was there, most of the time. Her life, once fragile, became a testament to bioengineering brilliance. She ran marathons, climbed mountains, her artificial heart a tireless engine.
She was in many ways the future.
Then came the whispers. Not about her heart, that was old news, but about the upgrades becoming necessary. Her native lungs struggling to keep up with her superhuman cardiovascular system. Her eyes losing their natural acuity against a backdrop of enhanced senses she didn't even know she had. The doctors, their faces solemn, explained it wasn't optional. Like an aging operating system, her organic parts were no longer compatible with the hardware. It began with a gentle suggestion for ocular implants, minor enhancements to combat the inevitable entropy of flesh. Aiko, who had long ago made peace with her metallic heart, felt a strange, unexpected resistance. This felt different. This felt like shedding something fundamentally her. Yet the alternative was a slow decline, a return to the very limitations she had overcome. So she agreed. The world snapped into impossible focus. Colors vibrated with a new intensity. Details once lost in the periphery now stood out with stark clarity. It was overwhelming, breathtaking, and strangely synthetic. The upgrades continued. Enhanced auditory processors that picked up whispers from across a room, a skeletal lattice of reinforced carbon fiber woven into her bones for increased strength and resilience. She was becoming more, and at the same time, arguably less. The true complication, however, wasn't the physical transformation. It was the arrival of Kenji. Kenji wasn't like Aiko. He hadn't received cybernetics out of necessity. Kenji had chosen them. Every single, gleaming, integrated piece. From his subdermal comms array to his augmented limbs, Kenji was a walking, talking monument to voluntary enhancement. He moved with an almost unnatural grace, his actions precise, efficient. He spoke with a synthesized calmness that was unnerving, and he saw Aiko not as a girl with a heart of metal, but as someone who had barely scratched the surface of what was possible. He spoke of bypassing the messy inefficiencies of biology entirely, of uploaded consciousness, of shedding the fragile limitations of the human form like a discarded skin. He made it sound like liberation. He showed her what his world was like. A world of shared sensory input, of instant knowledge transfer, of a collective consciousness forming in the digital ether. Aiko, with her hybrid existence, felt suddenly ancient. Her organic parts felt heavy, cumbersome. The humming of her beryllium heart, once a source of strength, now felt like a relic. Kenji represented a path forward that was both exhilarating and terrifying. He wasn't just augmented, he was designed. And he gently, persistently, began to point out the inherent compromises of her continued connection to the old ways. He framed it not as an upgrade, but as an evolution. He wasn't trying to fix flaws, he was aiming for perfection. And Aiko, increasingly disillusioned with the limitations she now saw in her remaining biological functions, began to listen. Then came the earthquake. Not just a tremor, but a city-altering cataclysm that ripped through the foundations of their augmented reality. Buildings crumbled, power grids failed, communication networks went dark. Kenji, in his optimized state, responded instantly. His enhanced limbs cleared debris with impossible strength. His internal diagnostics pinpointed survivors trapped beneath the rubble. He was a machine of rescue, efficient and tireless. Aiko, her own system struggling with the sudden environmental chaos, found herself relying on something she hadn't consciously thought about in years. Instinct. The panicked racing of her beryllium heart mimicking a biological fear response. The surge of adrenaline she generated the old-fashioned way. She wasn't as strong, not as fast, not as data-rich as Kenji. But in the chaos, something primal kicked in. She knelt beside an injured woman, her hands still mostly flesh and blood, felt for a Maibol. She used her enhanced sight to spot a broken gas line, but then used her unenhanced voice to shout a warning. In that moment, surrounded by the raw, unvarnished reality of disaster, the distinction between her and Kenji, between necessity and optimization, became starkly clear. She saw the cold logic of his efficiency, the detachment required to perform such tasks, without succumbing to the overwhelming emotion of the moment. And she felt acutely the warmth of her own fear, her own empathy, her own messy, imperfect humanity. In the aftermath, amidst the rubble and the dazed survivors, Aiko made her choice. Not to reverse the upgrades, for that was impossible, but to embrace the duality. She looked at Kenji, still calmly coordinating rescue efforts, a perfect machine in a world of broken biology, and she saw a future that was undeniably powerful, but also, for her, incomplete. She felt the steady, tireless beat of her beryllium heart, a reminder of the life she had been given, a life she had fought to keep. She felt the still present thrum of her nervous system, the echo of fear and relief. She was a blend, a testament to both the potential of technology and the enduring resilience of the human spirit. She had been augmented once by necessity, then tempted by a second, voluntary augmentation into something else entirely. But in the face of true, unaugmented chaos, she realized the value wasn't in shedding her humanity, but in finding strength in its messy integration with the technological. She was not fully machine, nor fully flesh. She was something new, something that existed in the liminal space between. And perhaps that space wasn't a compromise, but a unique form of strength, a new kind of evolution that wasn't about replacing the original, but about complementing and preserving it. Perhaps a true enhancement wasn't about discarding what you were, but about finding a way for it all to coexist, in a symphony of silicon and soul.